Massive airstrikes continue at this hour. This is shaping up to be the deadliest day in Lebanon since Hezbollah started firing on Israel back on October 8th. According to Lebanon's health ministry, new numbers just released. At least 182 people have been killed, 727 injured. Those numbers expected to increase. Also within the past hour, Israel says it will expand its airstrikes to include the Bekaa Valley of Lebanon. That's northeast of Beirut. Take a look at some of the strikes that have impacted southern Lebanon so far this morning. As you mentioned, Israel is targeting weapons facilities and launching positions. They've hit 300 Hezbollah sites so far today, and now Israel is warning residents to evacuate.
We advise civilians from Lebanese villages located in and next to buildings and areas used by Hezbollah for military purpose, such as those used to store weapons, to immediately move out of harm's way for their own safety.
Dana Bill, this is exactly what he's talking about. An example of a home being used by Hezbollah. Israeli pilots notice the terrorist unloading a DR-3 cruise missile, but Israel strikes them before they can fire it off. That missile had a 660-pound warhead on it and a range of 124 miles. Now, some Hezbollah rockets did make it through Israel's air defenses. Take a look at this next video. You see a direct hit in northern Israel. It caused a lot of damage. The IDF says Hezbollah fired 150 times in the 24 hours leading up to this morning's strikes. Israel's President Isaac Herzog posted on X this morning, quote, "I repeat and reiterate, Israel does not seek war. We have the right and the duty to defend our people." Defense Minister Yoav Gallant said today that Israel will continue striking Hezbollah until the 60,000 evacuated residents of Israel's north can return to their homes.
It's pretty simple to anyone with a brain that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris do not give a damn about the innocent lives of those in Israel, in Palestine, or anywhere around Israel for that matter. Whether it's from the north, or from the east, or from the south, it matters not. And why do I say that? Because if they did, if they truly cared about those that are losing their lives, well, they would eradicate the actual problem, eliminate the problem. They would unleash the United States Air Force and the United States Navy to do their job to bomb Iran back to the damn Stone Age. That is the only way this ever gets solved, because Iran is who is backing, sending the weapons to Hamas and to Hezbollah to strike Israel. Not to mention the thousands of U.S. service members who died because of Iranian-backed weapons to terrorist organizations during the Iraq War, as well as Afghanistan. You had many places to be tonight. You chose to be here with me, and for that, I am forever grateful. Welcome to the Douglas Ducote Show. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel, like it, tell your friends and family about it, and also, please go to Rumble and sign up. It's free, just like other social media platforms like YouTube, for instance. And sign up there and follow the Douglas Ducote Show. So Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are sending yet more U.S. troops to the Middle East as I speak, as Israel's prime minister issued a warning to the Lebanese people regarding the heightened conflict with Hezbollah. In light of increased tensions in the Middle East and out of an abundance of caution, we are sending a small number of additional U.S. military personnel forward to augment our forces that are already in the region in combat zones. But for operational security reasons, I'm not going to comment on the provided specifics, Major General Pat Ryder told reporters during an off-camera gaggle that took place yesterday. The U.S. already has 40,000 plus troops in the region. Although, if you heard Kamala Harris during the Trump-Harris latest debate, she lied. And she said that for the first time during this entire administration, no troops were deployed in combat zones. Kamala Harris, the Vice President of the United States, just like Joe Biden, the President of the United States, are pathological liars. The new developments come after significant strikes by Israeli forces against targets inside of Lebanon have killed hundreds, and as Israel is preparing to conduct further operations. Netanyahu released a video statement Monday addressing the people of Lebanon, who, by the way, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris could give two shits about, just like the people of Palestine. Israel's war is not with you, he said. It is with Hezbollah. For too long, Hezbollah has been using you as human shields, just like Hamas did. It placed rockets in your living rooms and missiles in your garages, he said. Those rockets and missiles are aimed directly at our cities, directly at our citizens. To defend our people against Hezbollah strikes, we must take out those weapons. Now, starting this morning, the Israeli Defense Forces has warned you to get out of harm's way. I urge you, take this warning seriously. Don't let Hezbollah endanger your lives and the lives of your loved ones. Don't let Hezbollah endanger Lebanon. Please get out of harm's way now. Once our operation is finished, you can come back safely to your homes. He spoke as Israeli warplanes continue to strike Hezbollah targets in southern and eastern Lebanon. Fox News confirmed that Netanyahu's cabinet approved a special situation similar to the state of emergency on Israel's home front yesterday. According to the Israeli government, the declaration significantly expands Israel's Defense Force powers to give public directives, permitting the military to ban gatherings, limit studies, and issue additional instructions required to save lives, which is something Israel has been doing all along, even on their southern border with Gaza, with Palestine. The U.S. State Department is warning Americans to leave Lebanon as the risk of a regional war increases. And why in the hell there would still be any Americans left over there today, well, that's beyond me. Due to unprecedented nature of the ongoing conflict between Hezbollah and Israel and recent explosions throughout Lebanon, including Beirut, the U.S. Embassy urges U.S. citizens to depart Lebanon while commercial operations still remain available. The State Department cautioned Ryder would not say if the additional forces might support the evacuation of those citizens if needed. Well, considering how we didn't do that in Afghanistan, I'm sure we will leave these American citizens that can't get out for whatever reason behind to die as well. Additionally, the U.S. aircraft carrier USS Truman, 2 destroyers, and a cruiser set sail from Norfolk, Virginia, headed to the Mediterranean on a regular scheduled deployment, opening the possibility that the U.S. could keep both the Truman and the aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln, which is in the Gulf of Oman, nearby in case further violence breaks out, according to the Associated Press. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, who, by the way, I've said many times, is as useless as male nipples, held back-to-back calls with Israeli Defense Minister over the weekend as he pressed for a ceasefire and a reduction of tension in the region. Israel is being attacked from the north by Hezbollah, terrorist organization sponsored by Iran and being attacked from their southern border, Palestine and Gaza, by Hamas, a terrorist organization sponsored by Iran. And this no good son of a bitch is calling for a ceasefire from Israel. Given the tensions, given the escalation, as I highlighted, there is a potential for a wider regional conflict. I don't think we're there yet, but it's a dangerous situation, he said. Lloyd and the Joint Chiefs of Staff are either complete and utter incompetent idiots, or they're telling the Biden-Harris administration what needs to be done, and they're telling them to go pound sand. One or the other. But I, for one, would love to know which it is. The only way to end this problem in the Middle East, again, is to unleash our Air Force and our Navy to take out Iran's military capability and nuclear capability. They have the technology and the power to accomplish this mission within 48 hours, completely destroying it and knocking it back to the Flintstone age, my friends. But this administration continues to do nothing to Iran and allow them to continue to not only support these terrorist organizations and causing Israel to have to defend itself, but also to get more American service members killed. The U.S. presence in the Middle East is designed both to help defend Israel and protect U.S. and allied personnel and assets. Navy warships are scattered across the region from the eastern Mediterranean Sea to the Gulf of Oman. And both Air Forces and Navy fighter jets are strategically based at several locations to be better prepared to respond to any attacks. Look, until we eliminate the major threat, Iran, this will never end and will only get worse with each passing day and hour. You ask any U.S. military veteran, or if you have a family member or a friend that's currently serving, how to eliminate this problem. And they're going to tell you, unless they're the far left liberal hanging in there because, oh, this administration allows it, they're going to tell you the exact same thing I'm telling you. Until Iran, their military forces are completely and utterly destroyed, there will be no peace in the Middle East. And the Biden-Harris administration has given Iran billions of dollars, which then turn around and go into their military to continue to support terrorist organizations and build up their nuclear capability, just like North Korea is doing. Both, according to our CIA, both Iran and North Korea now have a nuclear weapon. What they don't have, we believe, is the ability to put it into an intercontinental ballistic missile and strike deep into targets that they want to hit. They're both on record saying they want to wipe Israel off the face of the earth, eliminate the Jews and America. And we do nothing. This administration is going to go down in history as making Jimmy Carter's administration look like Ronald Reagan's administration. It's absolutely unacceptable. And it's sad. And thousands, if not millions, of more innocent lives on all sides, to include ours, are going to die because of the incompetent leadership at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. And you better think about that come November. Speaking of incompetence, last year, March 27th of 2023, you may recall that a mass shooting occurred at a Presbyterian church elementary school in the Green Hills neighborhood of Nashville. The shooter was 28-year-old Aiden Hell, who was a former student of the school, who killed 3 9-year-old children and 3 adults before being shot and killed by Nashville police officers. It was the deadliest mass shooting in Tennessee history. During that investigation, you may recall that little information was being released to the public about the shooter or the reason behind the shooting. It was strange. I called it out right here on my show. What are we waiting on? Several days go by. We don't even know who this person is. Little or no information was coming out about this shooter. And as it turned out, it was because that our Department of Justice felt that it was not politically correct to share the truth, which is that the shooter was actually a transgender man who identified as a woman. She was born Audria Elizabeth Hale, H-A-L-E. Then the Department of Justice refused to release the manifesto of the shooter after he found out that there was one, that the shooter wrote a manifesto of exactly why they were doing this. They wouldn't release it. The reason? We do not want any copycat shooters. That was our Department of Justice. Eventually, the manifesto leaked out by local law enforcement. But the Department of Justice, for some strange reason, has no issue releasing the manifesto of the latest Trump assassination attempted shooter. Guess they don't care about copycat shooters when it comes to Trump. Now, do they? Justice Department released a chilling letter written by the would-be Trump assassin, Ryan Wesley Routh, yesterday. The Department of Justice obtained the letter from a witness who says they received it inside a box delivered to them by this man several months prior to the assassination attempt. Authorities say the witness opened the box only after hearing that Routh was suspected in the attack. The box contained several handwritten letters as well as ammunition, among other things. One of the letters addressed "Dear World," admitted to an assassination attempt on Donald J. Trump. He also offered money to anyone willing to finish the job. In the letter, he criticized Trump as unfit for office. Not sure where he got that information from, other than maybe, let me think, the fucking Democrat Party. The detention memo revealed that he planned to travel from Greensboro, North Carolina to West Palm Beach, Florida on August 14th, a month prior to September 15th golf course incident. One of his cell phones pinged several cell towers near Trump's golf course in his Mar-a-Lago residence on multiple days and times from August 18th to September 15th, the detention memo alleged. Investigators say they also found a book that he had authored in 2023 titled Ukrainians' Unwinnable War, the Fatal Flaw of Democracy, World Abandonment, and the Global Citizen, Taiwan, Afghanistan, North Korea, World War III, and the End of Humanity. The book also discusses a Trump assassination, this time encouraging Iran to carry it out. In the book, he stated that he must take part of the blame for Donald Trump getting elected and or being elected the next time. Ended up being brainless, but I'm a man enough to say that I misjudged and made a terrible mistake, and I apologized. You are free to assassinate Trump as well as me for the error in judgment and the dismantle of the detail, Department of Justice says. He has been charged federally possessing a gun with scratched out serial numbers, with possession of gun illegally as a felon, though more serious charges are likely pending, such as, attempt to assassinate Donald Trump. The weapon had a round in the chamber and was loaded with 11 other rounds, Department of Justice said yesterday. He is appearing before a federal judge today for detention and hearing. Ralph had searched how to travel from Palm Beach County to Mexico in one of his 6 cell phones, Department of Justice alleged. The detention memo also provided a fresh detail on the witness who saw him fleeing the sniper's nest that he was in. The witness made eye contact with the suspect before he jumped into a Nissan Extra and sped away. The witness is credited with photographing the vehicle and reporting it to law enforcement. He will likely face additional charges in coming days, which could include aggravated assault for allegedly pointing the rifle at the Secret Service agent and making threats against the former president. State Attorney David Ironberg previously told Fox News. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis said at a press conference today that Florida will pursue every charge possible to make sure that this man never gets out of prison. They spent weeks not wanting you to know about the mass shooter in Tennessee because it was a transsexual. And they wanted to keep the manifesto that this person wrote from you and me because they didn't want copycat assassins, mass shooters. So if you were to believe that, then why were they so willing to share this one on the second assassination attempt against Donald Trump? Read between the lines. There are people in higher powers, way above me and you, that want this man eliminated from the face of the earth. It cannot be any clearer, except to far left liberals and the current members of the Democrat Party up in Washington, D.C., although some of them are coming along and realizing that this sure looks pretty damn bad. Is that the Secret Service does not have enough exposure of their incompetence. You're going to love this. A Secret Service agent was injured in Washington, D.C. this past Saturday night after he accidentally shot himself. Secret Service said that the neglected discharge occurred near 32nd and Fresden Street in the northwest section of the city just before 8 p.m. The agent who was on duty had his gun out and was playing around with it when it discharged. The agent's injuries were not life-threatening, adding that he was taken to an area hospital for treatment and evaluation. Lieutenant Paul Maher, a public information officer with the Secret Service, said there were no reported injuries to any other individuals and that the Secret Service Office of Personnel Responsibility will be reviewing the facts and circumstances of this incident. Now, let me add something to this. If it turns out that this agent was indeed playing around with his weapon when the discharge happened, pretending to be a cowboy or whatever, don't expect him to be fired. Expect him to be reassigned to the protection detail of Donald J. Trump. There are many people inside our country, in America, some that are not American citizens, many that are anti-American. They hate everything about us. They believe that our founding fathers were all racist bigots and horrible people. They believe our Constitution is nothing more than a piece of paper that you should wipe your ass on. They believe that our American flag is racist. They believe that every morning, members of the law enforcement communities across this country wake up for their shift, and the first thought in their mind is, how many innocent black youth that are unarmed can I go out and shoot and kill today? That's their narrative. That's their liberal ideology of batshit crazy. They hate our military. They hate our veterans. And it goes to say, I don't even have to tell you what they feel about Donald Trump or what they feel about MAGA, me and you. Some of them have big platforms where they can spread their hate. And I've shared that on my podcast many times before and done separate videos about their hate towards us. For instance, Representative Alihan Omar, sitting member of Congress, and Rashida Tlaib, sitting member of Congress, and AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, sitting member of Congress, openly, blatantly slamming the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers. Remember the movie Black Hawk Down? That Operation Gothic Serpent that took place? Alihan Omar has blamed the military. The U.S. military is the real terrorist in that operation. And we do nothing. We allow her to continue to spread her hate and propaganda. And those are just a few of the thousands. It's growing like wildfire. We now have in America, in the open, Muslim hate groups that hate America. We have the same thing for people that call themselves American communist organizations. Something that when I was growing up, we'd have locked their ass away. Where these people belong, locked away. And then we have those that have millions of followers because they're artists, they're singers, they're members of Hollywood, and the youth look up to them. Case in point, the American rapper Macklemore. He told a crowd in Seattle, Washington, concert goers, "Fuck America," which can clearly be heard in the video of his recent Palestine Will Be Free Forever performance that was shared on X, formerly Twitter. You can also see it on YouTube, on Rumble, BitChute. Pick a freaking platform. It's spreading like wildfire. He encouraged his fans in the audience to shout it by saying, straight up, say it. "I'm not going to stop you. I'm not going to stop you," Macklemore said, referencing the chants from the crowd. And then he chanted with them, "Yeah, fuck America." The Grammy-winning performer said, sending the crowd into cheers. The video was shared on X by journalist Cam Higby. Macklemore is a 41-year-old rapper. He was born Benjamin Hammond Haggerty in Kent, Washington. Had put together a Palestine Will Live Forever festival on his Facebook page. He said the proceeds of the event, held at Seward Park Amphitheater, would go to various groups, including the agency known as the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian Refugees. Israeli officials, as well as American officials and UN officials, have said that this group supports the terrorist organization Hamas. They do nothing to help innocent people of Palestine. The UN itself announced in August that 9 of the group staffers would be fired due to possible involvement in the October 7th, 2023 Hamas terror attack on Israel. Macklemore dropped an anti-Israel song back in May titled Hands Hall, referring to the Columbia University building that students occupied and renamed in honor of a 6-year-old Palestinian girl who was killed in the Israeli-Gaza war. The song praised the anti-Israel encampments and protests on college campuses across the country and called out President Biden, the police, and the music industry. The rapper this month dropped a second version of the song that now calls out Vice President Kamala Harris. Macklemore seems to threaten that Harris will lose support in the battleground state of Michigan, which has a large Arabic and Muslim community in Dearborn, because she's supporting Israel. Now, that being said, he's too stupid to realize that, no, she really doesn't support Israel. Not one bit. She's walking a fine line on both sides to please both sides of the aisle. She has no spine. She can't take a stand. Hey, Kamala, I don't know if you're listening, but stop sending the money and weapons or you ain't winning Michigan. We committed, and hell no, we ain't switching positions because the whole world turned Palestine, the song says. The music video shown on X shows a clip of Representative Ilhan Omar when those lyrics are played. The song also includes the anti-Semitic chant From the River to the Sea, which calls for the elimination of Israel. Macklemore, who has an estimated net worth of $25 million, according to Celebrity Network, because of his rapping, also declares in the second version of the song, capitalism killing us. That's something we can't afford, and sings, there will never be freedom by pleading with Zionists. McLemore has increasingly weighed in on conflicts in the Middle East. Last month, he canceled an upcoming October concert in Dubai over the United Arab Emirates' role in the ongoing genocide and humanity crisis in Sudan, though its reported support for the paramilitary forces has been fighting government troops there. And that's according to the Associated Press. So he doesn't even know who the fuck's fighting who. In an Instagram post at the time, McLemore said, he had a series of people asking me to cancel the show in solidarity with the people of Sudan and to boycott doing businesses in the UAE for the role they're playing in the ongoing genocide and humanitarian crisis. So, what type of leaders, American leaders, sit back and do nothing when the number one sponsor of terrorist organizations on planet Earth, Iran, is being propped up as somebody to look up to by members of Hollywood and rappers like this low-life son of a bitch. And, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and this entire administration. The Democrats in Washington, D.C. I go back to my opening statements. We have the capability in our United States Air Force and our United States Navy to start an operation that would only last 48 hours or less to completely eliminate and destroy the Iranian Air Force, the Iranian Navy, all of their military forces, and their nuclear facilities. But instead of doing that, we're watching Israel get attacked relentlessly from Hezbollah in the north and Hamas in the south, killing more and more Jews because that's what they want. If they didn't want that, they would do something about Iran. And look, it's not just this administration. Whether you want to hear this or not, Republican administrations going all the way back to before Jimmy Carter had the opportunity to change history to where we would not see what's happening today to the Jewish people. But they chose not to do anything other than cut off their funding of money. Israel, on the other hand, had the testicles to launch many attacks into Iran throughout the past several decades. But what do? The most powerful military in the world. We're giving them money, billions, to continue to support terrorism across the world. They're also responsible, once again, for the deaths of many, many American service members in Iraq during that war, as well as Afghanistan. And this administration left behind, as you know, in Afghanistan, besides leaving behind thousands of American citizens to die at the hands of the Taliban and not having any plan to get anybody out of there safely. Complete and utter withdrawal catastrophe that got 13 more U.S. military members killed. We left behind billions and billions of dollars of our military equipment. Where do you think that military equipment is? What do you think the Taliban's doing with it? Well, if you think for 1 second that Iran's not buying it, you better lay off the Hunter Biden crack. This administration is dangerous and scary. And if Kamala Harris wins in November, mark my words on it, the United States of America will not survive 4 more years of what we've been dealing with for the past 3.5. It's not going to, my friends. And the world will continue to burn. And more than likely, we will end up, well, we're already in a third world war as far as I'm concerned. We're literally fighting Russia as I speak through Ukraine. Because the little country of Ukraine didn't stand a snowball chance in hell against Russia in that invasion had we not started pumping in billions and billions of dollars worth of our military equipment for them to fight off Russia. And we keep backing Putin into a corner just like a wounded dog, a wounded animal. Eventually, you beat it enough, it's going to say, fuck it. It's got nothing else to lose, and it's going to come out biting and doesn't care what the consequences are. That's Vladimir Putin as far as I'm concerned. I believe we're going to push that man to a point where he says, fuck it. And he's going to use tactical nuclear weapons against Ukraine. He's already threatened to do it many times, as well as many of his generals and his higher ups and his administration. Some of them are begging him. They're going on state-sponsored networks begging him to launch nuclear weapons against Ukraine. And if he does that, NATO will respond in turn. That's us as well. We're part of NATO. And when that happens, Russia will launch all their nuclear weapons at all of us. It goes back and forth. In a matter of hours, civilization on planet Earth will be over. Now, you can call it fear-mongering. You can call it a conspiracy theory. Whatever you'd like. But if you do, you are a blatant idiot that's got your head buried in your ass. And you have absolutely no clue what's happening on the world stage. We are closer today to nuclear annihilation than we've ever been since nuclear weapons were built. Ask that to any veteran that served during the Cold War, and they will share that with you. And sadly, the youth of today, which is the only chance in hell that the Democrats have to continue to maintain power and stay in control, are clueless, along with many of the adults that vote with the Democrat Party. I was asked recently, as in Sunday, by somebody that doesn't like Donald Trump. They are a Republican. This person, which I will not name, they're a friend of mine who can't see to vote for Donald Trump. And he asked me, Doug, what would it take for you to cast your vote for Kamala Harris? Now, many of you may think or say, never, won't happen. There's no way in hell I could ever do that. But that's not reality. I'll tell you what reality is. And this is what I told them. And that didn't come off the top of my head like that. I thought about the question for probably a good 45 seconds or maybe a minute of silence as we looked at each other. And I said, if nuclear weapons had never been designed, atomic bomb had never been built, or if we can take a magic wand and wave it and make them just vanish tomorrow, if the youth of America actually looked up to our military and our veterans and our law enforcement officers, the way they look up to those in the sports world or the entertainment world that hate America, if our economy was booming and strong, and we could all just sit back and sing Kumbaya. There was no wars in the Middle East. There were no terrorists coming across our southern border and gang members and sex trafficking of women and children. Basically, if you could paint a picture of a perfect world, that's the only kind of world that I believe Kamala Harris would be capable of being a United States president and overseeing what's happening in America and the world. That'd be the only way in hell I could ever imagine voting for that evil woman who's clueless. It's not that she's evil on purpose. She's utterly clueless about what's happening, not just in the Middle East and with China, with North Korea, Iran, Russia. She's clueless about what's happening in America. Absolutely 100% brain dead. My wife and I went the other night and we saw the Reagan movie about Ronald Reagan. If you haven't seen it, please do. It's a very good movie. Ronald Reagan was the very first time I got to vote for president, and I voted for him. And then there was a lot of things in my military career that stand out that were very honorable. I got lots of awards that are hanging on the freaking wall here that don't mean shit today. You go to the Veterans Hall of Honor, and there's a whole display case of all my stuff in there. It really doesn't mean shit. It's just, it's things. Were those honorable things? Yeah. Did those make me happy? And hey, look what I got at the time? Sure. But the most honorable thing of my entire military career was that I got to proudly serve this country under President Ronald Reagan. That was the pinnacle of my career. A man who went against the grain, who said, why aren't we negotiating with Russia, for instance, who's about to get us killed? We're about to go and all die due to nuclear weapons. Why are we not going and talking to them? And the Democrats fought him like, holy hell, there's no way you can do that. I dare you. How dare you go talk to them? That's the same kind of shit coming out of this current administration right now, my friends. They won't go sit down with Putin and say, what the fuck? Or with North Korea and say, what the fuck? Or with Iran? Or with China? No. But you know who will? And it reminds me so much of Ronald Reagan in that way. And we've already seen him do it in the 4 years he was already president. And that's Donald J. Trump. And the Democrats flipped out. Russia collusion and oh my gosh. And look what he's doing in North Korea. He stepped into North Korea. The only president in the history of America to ever step over the line into North Korea and shake the hand of a dictator. And he got them to stop their shit. He got Iran to stop their shit. He cut their money off. He kept Putin in check and made him stop his threats. He did the same thing to China. And for 4 years, pretty much, with a few scrimmages here, there, and yonder, the world was calm because of strong leadership in America, with an alpha male that was in charge, that was willing to not only go talk to you, but they were scared shitless of him because they didn't know what he was going to do or say. And then rolls in this current administration. It's proven fact in the history of planet Earth. When America has strong leadership and an alpha male in charge, the world pays attention and reacts to such. And when America has whatever you want to call Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, let's just say weak leadership, you get what you got right now. Total and utter chaos all across this planet. We must and we can do better. No matter what you think of Donald Trump's tweets in the past or his mean sayings or locker room talk, put all that shit aside and think like Ronald Reagan once said, when you go to the polls, you must think to yourself, are you better off today than you were 4 years ago? Is gas prices better? Is food prices better? Is the economy better? Is the world stage better than it was 4 years ago? And if you can answer yes, then you know who you're voting for. And I would say that if you answer yes, then, well, you at least have $1 million plus in the bank, because that's the only people other than those on the left that are fucking clueless about economics, about world history. That's the only way in hell you could vote for that woman, Kamala Harris. Ronald Reagan also once said that we are just one generation away from total extinction. This country, one generation away from being able to sit on our porch and tell our grandkids and our great-grandkids what America used to be like. And that generation is right now, right this very moment in time in history. And we must do everything in our power to spread the word to this generation that they can't vote for somebody because they like her laugh. They can't vote for somebody because they like her skin color. They can't vote for somebody because she was born a woman and not a man. They need to vote for somebody because they can fix the country and they can fix the world. And without that, we're doomed. You had many places to be tonight. You chose to be here with me, and for that, I'm forever grateful. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to this channel wherever you're watching me tonight, whether you're watching me live on YouTube or Rumble or X or LinkedIn. Also in the description of this show when it's over and comes up as a regular video, as well as all my videos, all my shows, you can see in the description the places you can follow me on social media. Follow me there. I'll follow you back. That's how we do this. Spread the word. Make sure you tell your friends and family about the Douglas Ducote Show. Let them know if they got little kids, little ears in the background. Sometimes Mr. Doug doesn't always say what's politically correct, and a bad word slips out every now and then, and it just, the liberals get their shit all wadded up and upset. And that's okay, because that's what they need. I'll be back on Thursday at 8 p.m. Central for another live broadcast. As always, please say a prayer for our men and women serving the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, our first responders, their families, our angel families, our blue and gold star families, and our country. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless each and every one of you. And I'll leave you with this, as I've said many times before, and it's something that is very, very important to me, and it should be you as well. If you do not know what angel families are, you do not know what blue and gold star families are, that's your homework. Please look that up, because they need our support more now than ever before. Because this current administration of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are literally pissing on the graves of their loved ones, and that is unacceptable. Thank you. God bless you. Have a wonderful and safe night. If something breaks that's very important between now and next Thursday, I'll do a video about it, or I'll do a live broadcast about it. Other than that, be safe, take care, and I'll see you soon.